What's up, Active Lifers? Welcome back to the Active Life Podcast. I'm Dr. Sean Pastuch. I'm your host. I'm joined today by Larry Gaier. And we just got back from our Active Life ProPath event with over 40 gym owners, 10 staff in attendance in Boston, Massachusetts. And we came home with some pretty powerful learnings. Things that we, frankly, didn't even expect to learn ourselves that we wanted to share with you today because you can start to put through your own lens. Is this something that I want to change about my own life, my own business, my own relationships that we hadn't given as much thought to until the event as we're giving now?
What'd you learn?
Oh, I'm going to start. I like how you did that. One of the most pivotal moments for me was being in the room with these 40 plus gym owners who I didn't believe, frankly, were as bought into the direction that we want them to head, because we believe it's what they genuinely want and haven't been able to communicate as they are. So I'll tell one story. There's a gym owner in the room who will probably know I'm talking about him when I describe this, but his gym is not a stranger to doing $80,000 months. And my thought since the day that this person enrolled was that there was no way that this person would want to move all the way into the active life model in their space. And in having the conversations on site, this person has evolved their model from being a very traditional CrossFit gym to being a CrossFit gym that offers a significant amount of personal training, to being a functional fitness gym that offers personal training and program design, to identifying that there are, despite the fact that they've really up-leveled the skill of their staff, they're still not reaching the people who they're most inspired to help. There are people who are in the building where their business is who don't feel confident walking into their business. There are people who they see at the coffee shop who don't feel confident that their business can help them solve the issues that they exist to solve. And these are people who wouldn't walk into a traditional gym, who wouldn't walk into a HIIT studio, who wouldn't walk into a CrossFit gym. And they're harder to reach and they're harder to serve. And I think when you look at people who are running $1 million businesses or close to it, it's easy to believe that this person is probably very happy. This person probably doesn't want to make much change to their business because who would want to if you're doing that well in a gym? And to hear them asking the kinds of questions that they were asking, like, how do we reach more of these people? What about our service would need to change to make it more comfortable for these people to come? What do we need to get rid of? And how would you recommend we get rid of it without having a big fallout? These kinds of questions to me were really inspiring because what it means is that despite the monetary success, there is more that these high achievers want. And they believe that we can help them get to it.
Yeah. The thing that I was taking away that I wanted to make sure I was clear on when you were describing that is that it's more than just about the money for the people that are already successful or the people that want to be successful and don't yet consider themselves financially successful. It's about much more than what they're profiting.
Yeah. What's an example of that you heard?
Well, you were just talking about how they're already making a good amount of the money that they want. Mm-hmm. But they want a better...
Yeah, but that was my experience. Did you have one that was similar with somebody?
Oh, no.
different?
For me, it was just a 2-day black hole. So I was hoping you would just share yours. Yeah. Well, one of them that was really cool was talking with a relatively new gym owner who just enrolled with us. And he lives in a rural area in the Northeast of the United States. And like many other gym owners who have started working with us, his primary concern was no one's going to buy that here. Mm-hmm. We don't have a premium anything in our market. The people who are paying for expensive things are doctors and psychiatrists and all the people who have these elitely lucrative private things who are going to buy things. No one else. Mm-hmm. And working with us is expensive. So it was obvious.
How long has this person been in?
In what?
In ProPath.
In ProPath?
Talking like a month and a half?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
He was in for 2 or 3 weeks before this event.
Right. I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it was one of those, like, he enrolled and I'm like, oh, by the way, in 3 weeks, we lived
come to this, by the way, buy a ticket to Boston, right?
Yeah.
So what was amazing
buy a
about
ticket, travel. It was free for the client.
What was amazing about this is that this guy was described, he's made $1,000 a month total profit in his gym for the last 5 or 6 years.
Meaning that's what he's paid himself, yeah?
That's all the gym has made more than expenses. And so that's what he's paid himself. Yeah.
Right.
The money that he was describing having access to to even consider starting this is money that he has not been spending on fixing his car bumper. Is money that he was deciding, hey, if something worse happens to my car bumper, I don't know that I'm going to be able to repair it. And this guy has dreams of running 3 or 4 locations that he has full operations managers running who are serving people in the way that we are going to help him serve people. And all of them are profitable to the point that he only has to be in them as much as he wants to be. It's a big jump that he would be making. What he described was the tipping point was his girlfriend or fiance. I know you know who I'm talking about, and forgive me for not remembering if it's girlfriend or fiance. Told him that he should do it because where he's at right now and the amount of time and energy he spent on trying to make this work, he should either close it and do something else or go all in on this thing to explode it. And what was powerful about that for me was how important it is for people to feel very completely and authentically supported by someone that they trust in order to do that. And I think the hard part is that so many gym owners who hesitate to make a step in this direction do it because they have someone next to them. Either they don't have someone next to them to support them at all, or they have someone next to them who doesn't understand it well enough or has fears that they project on the gym owner so the person doesn't start, even if they're burning to do something like this.
What you said there that I found, well, first of all, that guy, I think if I'm not mistaken, has doubled his revenue in the first 6 weeks working with us. So he's got some, not to suggest that he's crushing it yet, but he has some breathing room and he probably feels a lot more comfortable now. So shout out to you, you know who we're talking about. Congratulations. The interesting thing about what you were describing there leads me to a story of a conversation I actually had yesterday with one of our clients and his wife. And it was that the person who was in this client's life influenced his ability to enroll and to actually take this big step. I had a conversation with a gym owner and his wife yesterday. And the reason why I want to share some of the content from it is because when people ask us what's different about Active Life, what about this is different than the mentor company I'm considering working with over here or who I've worked with in the past. One of the things I talk about all the time is if you're paying $200 a month to work with somebody and we are $2,400 a month to work with as a gym owner, I think it's reasonable to suggest that you can't expect the same thing from both services, and we better deliver 12 times as much value, if not more, for you to even consider working with us. I tell people often that we're a personal development company that sneaks personal development in through the guise of business development, right? You want to make more money. You want to build better systems. You want to better provide for your clients. But that pivotal conversation that I had with a mentor when he said to me, if you want to be more successful, you need to become a better person. That was 6 years ago. That's kind of been a tread line for everything that we do with our clients.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I want to pause you here because I believe that it's possible to get lost in, well, where's the actual technical product that is providing the measurable value to someone's life? And I don't want people to get lost in we're a self-help company.
Right.
I actually believe that we're opposite of the self-help industry, and that I think the self-help industry is read this thing about becoming better, get the dopamine rush of getting better, never take any action and do anything. What do you mean when you say we make better people? And can you explain a little bit more about how it's actually founded upon measurable results for people with respect to that?
So let me tell the story from yesterday because I could have gotten to it much more quickly. To make a long story short, this is a husband and a wife who technically own a gym together. The husband operates it. The wife is a supportive wife. And they are both outstanding people. She has a job outside of the gym and he manages and runs the gym. He wants to make some significant changes to the way that they're running it because he has people who come in on a regular basis who he just does not feel like his group class can help. And he wants to give them more specialized services. And he understands that the more he specializes the services of the gym, the more people like that will come in, the more fulfilled he can be in his work. Do you follow so far? When he goes home, she has the absolute best intentions of supporting him. And she's asking him questions about, have you considered this problem? Have you considered this problem with what you're trying to do? Have you considered this problem with what you're trying to do? And she's asking those questions with the intention of helping him think through the way that he communicates the changes in his gym. But he comes home from work tired. He's going through a very difficult phase of business transition right now. It's stressful. Let's not make it seem like a simple thing, right? It's a simple thing that's not easy. So he comes home already stressed out and a little bit tired from work as he's trying to do these difficult things to shift culture one increment at a time. She asks him all these questions, and he doesn't feel when he gets home as though she supports him, when the reality is the exact opposite is true.
She's actively
supports
supporting him. Yeah.
Yes. So on our call, one of the things that we discussed was create a space. Create a space at your home and make that the only space in your home where you can have conversations around the business.
Yeah.
So that if you're eating dinner, it's a safe dinner table. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about, I'm tired. I just want to talk about your day. I want to get to know about how you're doing. I want to make sure we're cultivating our relationship better. And then you get a question. You're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to think about this right now. Mm-hmm. We've all been there. And when you get those kinds of questions, the answers that you give are going to be short. Mm-hmm. They're going to be brash.
Yep.
And then the other person's like, you don't even listen to me. Mm-hmm. So what we developed was, where is the space in your home where you can have these conversations so that when you're about to ask a person a question, you're like, if I want the answer, we actually have to get up, go to that space, have a conversation. They have to be present for it. We're going to leave our kid out in a different room. We'll bring our kid in and hold them while we have the conversation. And it immediately melts away so many surface level conversations that cause stress and don't move the needle, because you would never go to the private room to have that conversation. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
And that's an example of a really simple way to level up your personal development for the benefit of your business.
Yeah. Because your business can only benefit from that. And that means that you're going to be giving a better product and service to your clients.
Right. And now how does that become something that actually happens in the gym? Let's talk about how that happens in the gym, because you don't live with the coaches if you're the business owner. If you're the coach, you don't live with the gym owner. You're not allowed to text your staff. Period. You're the gym owner. You're not allowed to text your staff. In this person's example, set up a Slack channel. And when staff members are outside of their normal operating business hours, when they don't want to be affected by business, they just turn off their Slack notifications. Now what happens is you send them a text because you're a business owner and you believe this person is going to see it the way that you would if they texted you, right, and respond in a reasonable amount of time, right, that's appropriate for them.
And that they would want to.
They see it and they're like, oh man, my boss needs something from
right,
me. I'm going to answer this right away because the gym needs it.
Right.
When that's not at all what your intention was, but it was their interpretation of your intention. And now you have this, you constantly need me. You're 24/7. You need me. I have to be on all the time, even when I'm at home. And that's not what you meant to do at all.
Which detracts from the energy and performance when they're on.
100%.
Yep.
And look, I've done this myself. It's been one of those things where, Ken, who works with me and our team, has told me on countless occasions, not anymore because I've removed myself from doing this. You need to picture sending somebody a text as no different than you leaving your office, walking down the hall to their office and knocking on their door and saying, can I ask you a question real quick? If they're in the middle of doing something important, you don't want them to stop and answer your question. So ask them the question in a way and at a time period that affords them the ability to only answer when they're present to answer.
Yeah. What is it about this? We keep on talking about specialized service and serving their members in a way that we might not previously. What did you find that was common across all of the gym owners there with respect to the person they thought they were helping, or that they thought they would be able to help, or weren't sure what to do with, but took on anyway and decided to play a safe route with them?
Well, so, okay. What you're asking is, we keep talking about serving people in a specialized way. Yes. What does that actually mean? Correct. And how is that not happening in the gyms that are not working with us, or the gyms even who are working with us who are moving towards this other version?
The reason I asked that is I saw examples of these culture shifts and these belief shifts, not only in terms of who gym owners are taking on and what they're promising them, but also in terms of who gym owners are firing and why. Mm-hmm. It's creating a culture in which everyone's getting more, and it's making sure that everyone, including staff, especially staff, are protected.
Well, let's dig down on one at a time. And I'll start by telling you a story about a conversation I had also yesterday with someone who's not a client. I was running a business boot camp, teaching gym owners how to increase personal training revenue in their business by $2,500 or more month after month without any ad spend, without adding any new members to the gym. That was the crux of the thing. I told them, if we're successful after this boot camp, you will understand exactly what you need to do next to increase personal training revenue in your business by $2,500 a month. When it was over, everybody said they knew how to do it. So it was a successful boot camp. One of the gym owners on the call, actually he was a manager of a gym coming onto the call on behalf of the gym owner, was asking me about core values because that came up in our conversation. One of the reasons that I believe any business struggles or finds burnout is because the people working in it don't understand the mission, the vision, and the values of the business, and then they're living outside of them. He asked, how do you believe that we're living outside of our values after learning everything you learned about our business? To give you some brief understanding, they do goal setting with every member when they come in the door, and then they tell them what they recommend. Great. I asked him, what are your core values? Core value number 1, integrity. Awesome. Define integrity. He tells me integrity is basically doing the right thing by people no matter what. Do the right thing. Okay. So how many members do you have? I said 160. I said, for how many of those members do you have the goals that they have written down somewhere in the gym? He said 160. So that's outstanding.
That's pretty good.
You're in the top 5%.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Immediately just for doing it. Mm-hmm. Next, I said, of the 160, how many of them are in a group class only membership? He said 125. I said, what are the other 35 doing? He said they're buying personal training or some version of individual design. I said, okay, great. Of the 125, let's only focus on the 125 in your group class. Do they all have the same goal? No. I said, do any of them have radically opposing goals? For example, one person wants to lose weight, one person wants to gain muscle. Yes. Okay. Are there occasions where those two people are potentially in the same room doing the same thing at the same time, even if you've scaled or modified the version of what they're doing? Yes. I said, is it reasonable to expect that those two people are going to get a very different value out of that experience, given that one person, maybe the day is, I don't know, there's a bunch of snatching and muscle ups in the workout. And one of the people we're talking about is 300 pounds and 62 years old on a diabetic medication with a knee brace. And working on snatch technique isn't necessarily something that's going to be beneficial for them, or kipping and hollowing and things like that. Where the other person who wants to be a great athlete, that is beneficial for. He's like, yeah, that happens fairly frequently. I said, do you believe that that's well aligned with integrity as a core value? Are you doing the right thing by both of those people? And he was like, okay, say no more. I get it. I think that the gym owners who we work with have that experience within the curriculum, within the conversations with their mentor, in safe spaces where we can actually call them out privately on the areas where they're not living in alignment with their values, help them understand the fear that is leading to them acting out of alignment. So for example, in this case, why do you allow this to keep happening? Well, this person doesn't want to do the personal training. They don't want to buy the program design. So you're afraid you're going to lose them as a member, and then the revenue is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how do we overcome that fear? Now, if we've overcome that fear, we can live within our values, and it's very tactical, right? It's what skill set do you need for that fear to no longer be a fear of yours? Do you need the skill set that you can sell? Do you need the skill set that you can acquire the next member? Do you need the skill set that you can retain members who have been with you for a year, and the first problem that came with is gone? That's what we're able to do inside of our education. So I think the people in the room at the event understood much more clearly where they're out of alignment with their values and what they need to do to get in alignment. And they're moving towards it in a way that for me was, as a group, inspiring.
Yep. It was for me too. And you're reminding me of a gym owner that is not with us, that I don't think either of us should have been, after he realized that, okay, the gym is basically running itself. All of my coaches are working other jobs. All of my members, I acknowledge, are being served less than I would like them to. They're all experiencing something similar to the person who needs to lose weight and the person who wants to gain weight. And
someone who was a client, or someone
who was not going to be a client that we don't believe should.
Got it.
Gym owner is moving, and all this gym owner wants to figure out how to do is, how do we continue to make this thing run exactly as it is? I don't want to gain. I don't want to lose. I'd rather just keep it like this, because this is safe and predictable right now, and it's relatively sturdy, even if it means I acknowledge my members aren't getting what I believe they should have and that I can give them. And my coaches aren't ever actually going to be able to create long-term careers here. And I'm basically just waiting to replace them because they can't live on $2,000 a month, even in the poorest town in the United States. When you ultimately, I believe that it's a large part of our responsibility to tactfully burst people's bubbles at the right time. And I think that everyone wins there. I think that it's important for people to see, even if it's uncomfortable. Sorry, it's not fair for the rest of the people for you to choose not to see and behave anyway. And I think that when people find the courage within themselves to lean into that, everyone wins.
Well, what you're talking about there is true across the board. And I think that this is, we're talking about it uniquely in the gym space, but it's true in any space for the client, for the gym owner, for the coach, the employee, the employer, it doesn't matter. The analogy I like to use to that is people are actually not afraid of heights. They're afraid of falling. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. Well, how do we make it so that your fear of falling is irrational? How do we make it so that the fear of falling is irrational? So that you know if you fall, you're going to land safely. And when you talk about bursting somebody's bubble, we're not actually bursting a bubble. We're obviating something that they already know and providing tactics so that they can execute on what they actually want to. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind sharing this. We recently had a gym owner or a manager of a gym again, come to us and say they wanted to pause their membership with Active Life. When we got into why they wanted to pause their membership, I suggested this is not a pause. This is a cancel. We are not well aligned to work together. What I think we do really, really, really well is hold our clients accountable to actually doing the things that they say they're going to do and take responsibility when we say we couldn't hold you accountable to it because we failed to help you understand why it was important that you do this thing. And so you didn't do the thing. And that's just as much on us as it is on you. But I don't know that wasn't as true for us a year ago as it is now. Does that make sense?
You mean that we're good at holding people accountable?
Yeah, we're way better now than we were then.
I agree.
Adding the mentors to every gym we work with, having curriculum that we can follow up that they're going through.
Well, I think that we're getting better at doing the very things that we teach people how to do.
Yeah.
With respect to our integrity.
I agree. I think, and this is where I want to give people grace. Right? A year ago, were we a bad company? No, we weren't a bad company. We have clients who've been with us now for 2 years and they thought we were really good then. They think we're better now. And you're never going to be better than you are today if you have to be who you aren't yet in order to give yourself permission to operate in any business. This is a gym owner, a coach, any business. So the evolution is necessary. The reason I wanted to share that story is because I wanted to be able to share that even when your intention is to do everything that we're describing and it's virtuous and it's accountable, you're going to slip and you're going to miss people. And when you slip and you miss people, what it means to me is that those people are falling outside of your ability to influence. And so instead of trying to continue to influence that person and assume it's going to be different, let them go. Be clear with them. This is not a pause. This is not a, try us again in a month. It's right now we don't have the skill set to inspire you to take action towards the goals that you told us you had. And so we don't want to keep taking your money ever in the future to do that.
Yeah.
I wish more gyms did that. And I would love for you to actually tell people, because one of the things that I think we run into is who is the client you're talking about? Like, people walk into my gym, we can help them. Look, I have an example of this person who wants this and this person who wants the opposite, and both of them got them here at my gym taking this group class. Yep. So I would love for you to share a little bit about a one-on-one client of yours who...
I think she would be okay to say her name, but I won't today. I'll find out. In the
right, let's do that.
We'll call her C-Train.
Try talking to the mic.
Yeah, we'll call her C-Train for today.
Is that what she prefers?
No, I don't think she'd hate it. A doctor in town, one of my greatest mentors, who runs a clinic and owns an adjoined gym, told her
functional fitness gym group classes.
Functional fitness gym group classes. Yes, they were a CrossFit gym. They've de-affiliated, and it's similar but better because they're excellent at what they do there.
Yep.
He referred her to me. They have a great group class, and they have one-on-ones that they do there. He referred her to me because he believed that what she needed was immediately after and way before what was in between his hands and his clinic and what his gym offered.
What do you mean immediately after and way before? You mean after his clinic and before
Way
his
before
gym?
she should be a member at his gym.
Okay.
Or even work with one of the coaches that was going to help him one-on-one there.
Because their unique skill set is helping people who are healthy get fit.
Yes. More than that,
What was going on with her?
I'm happy to share that. She had chronic low back pain and a couple different musculoskeletal just aches
Chronic
and
low
pains.
back pain meaning how long?
5 or 6 years.
Okay. How severe? When she got to you?
4.
Okay, 4 out of 10.
Yeah. 4
But
to
she
10.
was probably, what, a 7 and 8 when she went to
7
him?
or 8 when she was there. And there were some times where it's been a 10, but that only lasted a couple days. And beyond just the physical stuff, the biggest thing that she struggled with was managing her state and her response to stressors. She's a very, very conscientious human being, both personally and professionally. And so she's basically at a 7.5 out of 10 stress all the time, making sure that everything.
Because she's thinking about everybody else.
What's that?
Because she's
thinking about everything
everybody
else, and she wants to make sure all of her bases are covered.
Right.
Personally, professionally, she gives 15 out of 10 at every job and task that she does,
Right.
because she's well ahead of it. And then she's tapping her fingers saying, "What else can I do?" And her boss is saying, "You need to just relax a little bit."
Right. Good boss.
Great boss. So
It's not us, by the way. She doesn't work here.
yeah, the problem yet. I don't know. So the problem that she was facing was, in addition to things going on with her body and being confused about how to improve those things, when she was referred to me, she realized, hey, I've been following you for a little bit, and I realized that I want to work with you, not only because I believe that you can help me solve my musculoskeletal problems, but because of the kind of person you are. And there's nothing boastful about this, but she's describing that she's at a point in her life where she can only be around certain kinds of people. She needs to choose those people very, very wisely. And what she saw is that though she sees what I can do for people professionally, she wants that to be the vehicle by which she absorbs more of who I am personally. And I thought that was a great compliment. And
That's
I think
a very good
that's a large part of what we're doing here, and what you're describing as being a better person and what is going to make you a better professional.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, this is someone that
You've come a long way, by the way, from telling patients they got to pee in the garden.
Yeah, we could tell that story a different time. Ultimately, this person is someone that my mentor, this gym owner and clinic owner, determined you shouldn't be at my gym yet, maybe if ever, because what Larry can do for you is more relevant to what you need right now and what you're going to be capable of actually doing. The attention that you need to what movement you need, the attention that you need to the quality of it, the ability to pause everything in a moment and have a 20-minute conversation if need be that's going to be educational to how you can more appropriately manage your stress response going forward, and any other technique, either physical or psychological, that's going to help you forever is what you need most. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of gym owners, or all gym owners, need to be able to determine, is this someone that my gym can completely serve right now? And if not, who can most completely serve them in a way that's worth it for everyone?
Well, and so great that you can do that. Do you have any anecdotal experience about someone who's perhaps gone through our ALP or is going through our ALP, who would be the kind of person you would be confident referring this exact same client to if they were local to them? And if you could tell us why.
All right. Are you asking me, who do I know that I would refer my client to?
Okay. ALP is the education that we teach to help coaches bridge the gap between fitness and healthcare. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody in that program who you can think of who, when you first met them, when they first started the program, you were like, I wouldn't refer this C-train client to them?
Now there are a number.
Can you describe why?
Yeah. Well, a large part of I'll keep it real here. 2 years ago, I told you, hey, outside of working hours, I've been trying to develop this personal training mentorship program because I'm full. I can't take any more business, and I'm turning away people that I believe I'm the only person that can help, and I have no one else that I could refer to. Mm-hmm. 2 years later, we mobilized all the forces at Active Life, and we made something has this 1,000x scale that I could have ever created by myself, if not more. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, at the end of it, there are people that have the technical skills to comprehensively assess and solve problems that they previously could not, that most personal trainers and coaches, in my opinion, have not. They have the interpersonal skills to effectively communicate why people are doing what they're doing and what they should expect of it. And they have the soft skills to be able to actually listen to what's happening and be honest with people in a way that lands for them, so that they can always understand that they're seen, heard, and understood. And the person can always be effectively shining the light 5 feet down the road so the person could consistently look at what are the next few steps for me. I'm inspired to take those. Let's do that together. And this is the kind of combination of things for people who are worried about building sustainable businesses. This is the combination of qualities that makes you never have to sell anything, because every single second you're with this person is the sale that makes it easy for them to spend more money on you than they ever thought they were going to spend someone, and be the person who's eager to make sure that you're on top of the session count so that they don't miss their opportunity to pay you for the next package. And now I'm very proud to say that this company has educated a lot of those people.
So I want to make it really very simple and real for people so they can understand the person that we're describing being able to help. And let's do it by talking about the person who right now you and I are helping together. Right. So I don't think she'd mind us using her name because it was part of the process of bringing her in.
Yeah, it's the deal.
Right. So we'll talk about Kelly. Kelly saw the content that I was putting out on social media, and we were getting ready to open our own local space here in Long Beach, our own active life space, brick and mortar. It's still not open. Plan is October, November, it will be up and running in full. She saw the content that I was basically practicing with, right? Like, let's put this stuff out and see if people resonate with it. And she sent me a text one day on social media that said, you are speaking to exactly what I'm going through. I broke my back years ago, and while my back has healed, I have not. Right? I'm not the person that I used to be. I've gained some extra weight. I'm not feeling comfortable moving around. These are the things she was describing. And she was explaining to me that she doesn't feel like she can join.
And by the way, this is someone who comes from a rich history of physical culture and moving around.
Very, very athletic background when she was younger. Now she owns restaurants, and she's 50 something, 53, something like that. And she was like, I don't feel like I am who I am supposed to be.
She felt like a prisoner.
Yes. And she said, I feel as though what you're describing is exactly what I need. And so I want to get help from you if I can. So the first day she came in, she worked with you. If she went to a regular gym, I believe they say, have you done this before? No, great. And then they start showing her around the gym, and then they work her out and they tell her, we can scale us however you want.
Right. Get a good sweat on, feel the endorphins from the workout.
Correct.
You're sold.
And we'll do better next time. We'll keep on getting better and better and better. And don't worry, it never gets easier. You just get better and it gets harder.
I think it was 4 sessions between you and I before she started.
That's what I want to talk about. Right. So the first session, she comes in. What are you doing with her?
30 minutes of her learning how to be an awesome client and what it's going to take to actually create the kind of change that she's looking for, so that she had very, very clear expectations around how she was now going to operate as a person if she were going to realize the things that we were going to help her
So
with.
the first session is basically a 30-minute meeting where you're explaining to her how to best use your services.
Yes.
Okay. Second meeting was, I believe, with me, or was the second meeting with you also?
Second meeting was with you. Third was with me.
No. When did you talk about hierarchy of needs and
No idea.
low risk capacity?
No idea.
Was that in the first meeting or the second meeting?
Second meeting. Low risk capacity was first meeting. Sorry.
Okay. So you taught her how to use you best as a client, and then you taught her about some basic principles of how she ended up where she was.
Here's how your body works. Here's how it gets hurt. Here's what makes it feel good. This is what we want to do. These are the things I need you to start thinking about and shifting beliefs around what it's going to take to get these things.
And what is the average personal training session that you sell cost?
$140 on average across all sessions,
so about
packages.
About $140. So this is a person who came in and she spent 30 minutes with you, not an hour, 30 minutes, learning about how to best use you as a coach.
Yeah.
Her second session was with me. It was about 40 to 45 minutes. All we did in that session was educate on what is insult, what is irritation, what is pain, what is injury. How do you use your breath to take something that previously was causing you 8 out of 10 pain and bring it down to a 4 out of 10 pain? How do you know if what you're doing is making you better, worse, or indifferent to your physical state? Giving her that education. She told me after the first 4 sessions that we went through, and that's only 2, we can go through the rest in a minute here. She said those were the most pivotal training sessions she's ever had in her life. And you sell them for $140 a session. She didn't work out. She didn't sweat. And she found it as a value add, not as...
Well, the story that pops up is something that you actually told me a few times ago, which is like a few times ago. What unit of time is that? A few years ago? Who cares?
A few times ago?
So Picasso's painting casually on the side of the road. And guy walks up to him and says, wow, you're really good, not knowing it was Picasso. And said, can you paint a portrait of me, please? And Picasso paints a 45-second portrait of him that's really, really cool. Like, whoa. Awesome. I would love to buy this from you.
But not a portrait.
I would love to buy this from you. What is this going to cost? $25,000. What? This took you 45 seconds. Why would you ever consider charging me that much for it? And he said, it didn't take me 45 seconds. It took me 30 years and 45 seconds. Right. And so what you're describing is everything that you and I have been voraciously getting after better understanding for the last X amount of whatever number of years between the two of us culminated into a 30-minute session that totally changed this person's life and perspective on what's possible for her.
Yeah.
That's to me the value of education.
It wasn't until her fourth session that we started getting into things like putting her on a bike and saying, let's see what if, like, this is what a 1 out of 10 RPE is, a 2 out of 10, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 10 for 1 second, right? This is what it feels like in a safe environment for you to do these things. And now you're stressed. You just hit a 10. How do you bring your heart rate down? How do you calm down? How do you bring yourself back to a steady state with your breathing, with your thoughts? That was what the first 4 sessions were like with this person. And she said, not only were they worth coming to, they were the most valuable personal training sessions she's ever had.
Yeah. Well, what you have to ask yourself is, if you want to do this professionally, how much are you willing to do? And how hard are you willing to work, and how much stress are you willing to endure, and how much time and energy and money are you willing to spend so that you can make something super, super fucking easy for someone in 30 minutes. And then the good side of that is that you get to charge a lot for that.
Yeah. And they're happy to pay it.
Correct.
But the reason why I'm telling this story is I want people to understand, if you feel like someone walks into your gym and you need to immediately start getting them working out, it's because that person is not necessarily aligned with the values that you have, or you're not sure. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I should be able to give people 4 sessions of education if that's what they need before I start having them work out with me, but you don't feel like people would buy sessions and think that that's valuable unless you put them through a sweat session in those first 4 each time, it's imperative that you start evaluating why.
Yep.
Because it could just be your own projection, or it could be that you're struggling to articulate the value of that kind of education in the first 4 sessions before the person buys. And then you're struggling to make sure that the person understood the value when they got it. This goes back to what we talked about before, getting to the root of the fear. What's the root of the fear? What's the thing you're not sure about? What's the thing you're afraid is going to happen if you do this? How do you overcome that? It's by figuring out why you have the fear in the first place and building solutions for it. You follow?
100%.
So now, this is a person who, when they came to us, had neck pain, had low back pain, had sciatic pain. Yes? This is now, 13 sessions in, 14 sessions in, something like that?
I think we're at like week 7.
And she was feeling great. And recently had a setback with her sciatica. She communicated with you today. What was that communication like?
Hey, I don't know if it's a good idea to come in today. The last 3 days, the demand at work has been insane. I've been on my feet for 14 hours. I had to move a lot of things that I normally don't have to move. It doesn't feel good. And she's understanding now that, unlike what it used to be, where it would be a negative downward spiral of, what does this mean? Why is this happening to me? Am I ever going to get out of this? What are all the things that I can now do less of and worry about more? She now just understands, what's the 72-hour context that I need to bear in mind, so I could just do all the next right things so that I can look forward to my sessions next week. Because she's now experiencing less pain on average every day and more performance out of her life every day than she has in decades. Yeah.
She also messaged me and told me what was going on. And I just said to her, I was like, remember, this is part of the process of getting better. You're not, one of the things I like to tell people all the time is, you actually are not better until you've had a setback and moved through it. Because if you haven't had a setback and moved through it, you don't know how you're going to react when you have a setback. You don't know how your brain is going to function. You don't know how your stress is going to function. How is the rest of your life going to function? What do you do about your job? You need to experience that negative setback with a staff, with a coach who can support you, a professional in our case, who can support you through that setback so that you have clarity around what you do next time it happens. Then you can be confident that you've made the progress necessary to be autonomous. And when I talked to her about that this morning, she was like, yeah, 100%. I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that you knew and Larry knew that I didn't think it was a good idea to come into
That's such a massive shift.
Huge.
It's a massive, massive shift.
Huge. Because the alternative is, oh my God, am I back to square one? Am I spiraling into a permanent problem? Is this always going to be what my life is like? Where the latter is, you can come at it with some clarity and some calm.
Well, look, the person who when you roll your ankle for the first time ever, when you're 6 years old, 8 years old, whatever it is, it's cry, call the ambulance, mom, what is the deal? Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe that's a pretty nasty representation of what my childhood was like. But either way, after the 5th time that I rolled my ankle, it was, damn it, this is going to suck for a couple minutes, maybe a day. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be able to play tomorrow. And that shift is one that changes everything about how you feel.
That's how you know, by the way, you never played real sports, because
I started playing sports when I was 21. I'll just put that out there.
Right. So when you rolled your ankle when you were 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, you're like, I can play tomorrow. Let's just give some context to the audience. You weren't playing organized sports.
No, I was chasing butterflies. Is the fuck I was doing.
Which you can do with one leg.
Right. Or an electric wheelchair.
Or an electric wheelchair.
I think we talked their ears off enough.
We talked through what?
I think we talked their ears off enough. They're tired of this.
I don't know.
Are you tired
I'll
of this?
tell you what.
Let us know if you're tired of this.
Yeah, listening to this. We need to know. This was 45 minutes so far. No, some of that's going to be cut off in the beginning because we had to do like 4 intros.
We need to sprinkle more whimsical stuff in between to keep your attention. Let us know if that's true. And we could we're very good at that.
Well, we're 45 minutes in. I imagine by the time this actually comes out, we're like 36 minutes.
Oh, thank God.
I think that's reasonable. We got a lot done.
It felt longer.
It did. Spending time with you always feels longer.
Well, it's you in the grocery store in the background. It's really draining.
The grocery store? We are across the street, so you should all know. I want to tell a brief story here before we go. We are across the street from a grocery store, and downstairs from us is a bodega. And down the block are 17,000 other places where you can go to buy any of your food needs. And recently, I get a text message from Larry as I'm getting ready to walk to the office. Can you bring me water today? And I'm asking myself 100 questions go through my head. All of them around, there are an infinite number of outlets where Larry can go, including the water fountain in the hallway, to get water today.
The water fountain doesn't work. You have to put your mouth over the hole like when you were in 5th grade. And I used to suck the water reserves out of the water fountain because it didn't come out.
Sounds like a unique skill set you should explore. So anyway, all these questions go through my head, and I'm like, you know what? Just put water in a container and bring it for Larry.
It's a correct decision.
And that's what I did. And when I got here, to your credit, Larry was in the middle of an educational seminar, and I understood that he probably didn't want to leave the computer for the day to do that. Yeah, but that's...
Was irrelevant. Why was that?
You talked about a grocery store behind me, whimsical conversations with me feeling like they're long every time, and I felt like I would share a story.
Not every time. All right, anything else?
Turn pro.
See you out there.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Active Line Podcast. Remember, if you feel inspired by our vision to humanize the healthcare industry, professionalize the fitness industry, and empower individuals to live their lives, to reclaim their physical freedom, to develop careers, helping people reclaim their physical freedom. All you need to do is head to activelifeprofessional.com, find the appropriate link that represents you, and get in contact. We'll see you there.